people love to tell their story, and I love that we are creating a platform to highlight some phenomenal leaders and talent out there. We're in this journey to give it back and pay it forward so that people in technology or not in technology can see leaders who are doing it. Hey, Alicia.
Hi, Fern.
It's so good to see you, girl.
Nice
it's been
to
a
see
minute.
you.
We've been in the studio. We're actually live in the studio today.
In the studio.
Welcome back to Two Lit Chicks. We are wrapping up season 3, 12 episodes.
Can you believe it?
I cannot believe it. I mean, like, it goes by quicker than you think, although it's kind of stretched out a little bit with the holidays. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you, I think these seasons are just kind of flying by. Who knew that we'd be 3 seasons deep?
Wow.
A lot.
Oh, my goodness.
A lot.
That is a lot, Fern.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
So, we've been on this quest to give it back and pay it forward. And we thought for our closeout that we would just go through all of the great episodes and great people that we had on the podcast and what resonated with each one of us. So I'm thankful for everyone availing their time and their talents, right, to talk with us.
Yes, thanking all of our guests.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I think it's now time for just like what hit us, what resonated, what was fun. So I'll let you kick it off.
Okay.
Because I know we both have comments. So
okay. Of course we have comments. Okay, so we kicked off season 3 with the guest of Eddie Bright. Woo-hoo, Eddie. I met Eddie in New York, as well as he is a very close friend of yours. Is that correct, Fern?
He is. Eddie Bright, one of the things I loved about this season is when we brought everyone on. If you think about it, I didn't actually get this stat, but I think we had about 4 or 5 veterans. And he was our first veteran, veteran that we had on.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So, Eddie has this big energy. He's got this big personality. He's all about helping the next generation as well.
Yes.
Supporting everyone in technology, but leaning into this next generation, especially people of color. And his spirit and his energy just always speaks to me. I mean, first of all, he's got that DJ radio voice.
Yes, he does.
And, I know back in the day he was on the New York City radio stations for a long time. But what resonated with me with Eddie was just making sure that you're learning AI, but you're not afraid of it, but you're figuring out how to use it effectively and how to lead with it. So he had a power quote that just resonated with me. And it was like, hey, 2 things. If you can't get, and you've got your phone handy, he was talking about, hey, if you can't get them here, you ain't getting the folks anywhere. And so he made it really clear that we have to make sure that we are addressing AI, leading with AI, but reaching these younger folks on this type of device. So
a Gen Zer, he believes that he can be on his phone and be the CEO of a company. As a matter of fact, we don't even call Gen Zers teenagers. We call them screenagers. Because if you can't get them here, you can't get them.
You can't get them.
So if I've had this my entire life, I'm able to order food. I'm able to turn on my lights. I'm able to control how much water is going in my shower when I shower. I'm able to tell it, hey, Siri, book me a trip to Spain, and I'm leaving on these dates, and tell me the best restaurants to eat, and plan my restaurants, and set my reservation at those restaurants while I'm going from Barcelona to Mallorca.
Right.
How are you going to tell me to sit in this okay? How are you going to get me to come sit in your office?
Eddie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Eddie,
thank
for
you for
joining us.
Being all the things. So
now Eddie gave what I loved about his topic and what he was talking about is he presented it so well, first of all, for the next generation. But he talked about how tech and finance was going to be the next, AI and finance was going to be kind of the next going thing. And then he also talked about tech and healthcare as well.
He actually ran through. He was like tech and healthcare, tech and finance, tech and aviation. I think he talked about tech and aerospace, tech and cyber. He was running through all the adjacencies that tech will enable. So that was really cool.
Here's a few areas that I think are important. Technology and healthcare, not going anywhere.
Okay.
Got to have it. Mm-hmm. People are more stressed out and getting sicker and dying quicker than ever before. Unfortunately, it's technology and entertainment. We mentioned about it. We want to be entertained. We're America. We want to be entertained. I'll give you a perfect example. If I was here saying, well, thank you very much, Alicia, for the time today. This was a great interview. People are going to be like, turn that off.
Dry, no dry. We want to keep it
passion, little animated, very passionate, engaged.
Right.
People will watch for an hour. It's important. And giving out important information, technology and entertainment. A field that's hard to get into, but we've got to start thinking about it, is technology and aerospace.
Wow.
Here's another one. This business isn't going anywhere. Technology and defense.
Yep.
Not going anywhere. There's a fight to see who can destroy who quicker.
Right, exactly. Technology is cybersecurity, not going away.
Not going anywhere.
Cybersecurity, not going away.
Technology and law enforcement.
Yeah.
I can name a whole bunch of areas where if you're ahead of the curve, you're going to be employed for a long, long time. But watch this. Here's a couple of other areas. The artisan skills, electricians, HVAC, construction, not going anywhere. Now, technology is helping. Drones, all different types of things are helping you put buildings up quicker. But you still got to lay those wires. Robots aren't going to get in there and lay those wires. They aren't going to go in there and create the heating and ventilation and air conditioning system.
So the power quote that I have, really not a power quote, but just a summary, is AI will not replace you, but someone using AI will. Oh, that is good. And the question that I have for my audience, this is from Eddie Bright, though. Which one will you be? Will you be engaging in AI, or will you be pushing against, being very resistant? He called it the AI avoider or the AI enabler. Are you an enabler of AI?
It's all about that mindset, and that mindset will rise. And if you have the right mindset, that will rise.
Yes.
All right, so the other guy who I loved, another veteran, so we'll start with our vets, is Kenny Claytor. And Kenny was kind of towards the back end of our season, but Kenny, good friend of mine, good brother. You know what resonated with me with Kenny? First, he was so much focused on family, and he must have shouted out his wife at least 10 times.
10.
And
10, a minimal.
I was like, Sophia is like, okay, check and check and check.
Yeah.
He was really focused a lot on discipline, and he was in a sales capacity after coming out of the military and in tech sales, which is super hard, in my opinion.
It's very challenging.
To really sell and to really get folks to buy in. And he's moved around a few times. So what I loved about his conversation was the edge. He talked about, it's not about where you've been, but then how you're applying that for your next move. So I think Kenny, and Kenny's corner that he had was really phenomenal. The other last point I'll leave on Kenny, and I think this is awesome because I always talk about your network and how powerful having an effect network is.
Your net worth.
Exactly.
Yes.
So your network isn't your net worth. It's your team that you have around you, your support system, your strategy team, your marketing team. That's your kind of your reality check. And he talks about his starting five. And if you're going to build your career, his starting five starts with our good Lord, starts with his wife and his family. So that really touched me.
But what happens when you're not motivated? I think you have to have the right people around you. And I call it my starting five, right? And my number one is going to be my Lord and Savior. And then my number two is going to be my wife. And then I have a friend group around me that I'm like, okay, I don't feel it. Everybody keeps telling me to hang in there and stay motivated. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but nothing is going the way I wanted to go. What am I doing wrong? And I think if you have people to kind of help when you get derailed, because a lot of people don't like to tell you when they go, they like to see the shiny stuff now, all the newness that you have now. But sometimes they don't know what you went through to get to the point where you are. And I think you have to have the right support system around you to keep you motivated yourself, because it's easy to be it's easy to say that you want to be self-motivated until you have to put that coat on and wear it yourself. I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. It's okay to mentor and tell other people that, but now that I have to wear it, I'm like, okay, well, I got to practice what I preach. It doesn't feel too good. So when it doesn't feel good, you have to have people to hold you accountable and lift you up.
Really, what really I would like to bring out about the conversation with Kenny is when you show up fully, authentically, and intentionally, you create impact that lasts beyond your role of title. Because he really, when he said, if something happens to me, if this was it, what would I be known for? Mm-hmm. Oh, Kenny, he started with the end in mind, didn't he?
Right. And you know what? You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait until you're in your later career to start building your legacy. Your legacy can start right now. And so if you're new in your career, or if you're mid-career, or if you're more seasoned, every time is right now to start your legacy. I think that's what he was talking about.
Right. And he talked about encouraging authentic self-expression, teach relationships, building over transactions. So not just going after the relationship, but also, not just going after the transaction,
right?
But making sure you're really building the relationship. And then he said that you were one of those relationships that he had built over time, and then emphasizing discipline and long-term thinking. Success is not what you achieve, it's what you leave behind in others. I really like that about Kenny.
He dropped some golden nuggets. He really dropped some golden nuggets.
If I die today, I want somebody to look back at me and say, what legacy did Kenny leave? You know, what's important to me? Yes, we all want money. We all want to be financially well off. Okay, well, what happens if the click of a switch, then that goes away? What are you going to fall apart? Are people going to just remember you from what you leave in your bank account? Or are they going to remember the deeds that you've done and the things that you've done for other people? Also, the other thing too, that I think people in any industry totally forget, because everything now is so transactional, right? Mm-hmm. And when I first started talking to you, for example, I was trying to get in to Pepsi. Mm-hmm. I never got into Pepsi, right? But you and I became really good friends. And I think that's the piece that people forget. And you have to remember that just because somebody can't do something for you right then at that moment doesn't mean that person can't be a resource for you in a different way. It may not be in a monetary way. It may come back to you as a blessing that somebody else in your family that they can use for something else, or they could bless you in a totally different way. It doesn't have to be from a monetary standpoint. I think that's what we get confused about relationships.
So who else do we have? Oh my God, we had Renard and Amir. I think they were our last folks on. And you know what? This was really powerful. We were able to collaborate with another podcast team.
Yes, they are the co-hosts of Black Belts and Boardrooms.
And again, just really AI focused. And so they are living in that space in their day jobs and day in and day out. And again, this was another common theme about discipline. So these gentlemen are both black belts in jiu-jitsu and the other sport, I can't remember.
Maybe martial arts.
Taekwondo,
martial arts. Right. But they got black belts.
But they have, and they're also in the boardroom.
Yes.
And so what was really cool is how much that discipline and that peace and that calm and that training really transported into how they lead.
Right.
And how they lead with discipline and how they lead with focus. So I love this whole quote around, in the age of AI, your edge isn't speed, it's discipline and judgment. They talked about the undisciplined leadership using this powerful technology was a real danger point. And it's really making sure that we have discipline to make sure that we don't make big mistakes at scale. Mm-hmm. So thanks, Amir and Renard, for sharing those and dropping those golden nuggets. What'd you get from them?
Okay, so their next gen moment, I call it next gen because it's the next generation we're talking to, is to teach critical thinking early, because we talked about what is something that is very vital for the next generation, thinking critical, develop communication and relationship skills, instill ethical responsibility in technology use. And so that was really powerful. But really their entire episode is the future belongs to leaders who think clearly, act ethically, and remain steady under pressure.
That's that discipline. That goes back to the discipline.
Yep, it sure does.
So yeah, they were awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us and being a part of it.
Appreciate you.
Oh my God. Oh, let's talk about Beauty and the Beast.
Megan. Is that Megan Leak?
Science
Yes.
and pageantry. So,
Yes.
it was, so Megan gets on the call. Girl, we love you. But she took this on podcast episode from a Delta event in downtown Dallas with 50,000 other people. And we were like trying to get a signal from here, trying to get a signal from there, but we were able to make it work. And it was so great to hear her family history and legacy within education and within the sciences. So she just had a long history of excellence. And I would say, real STEM Black technology and excellence
at a very young age.
Huge young age. So family of legacy and excellence, HBCU grad, Divine Nine. She's a Delta Sigma Theta. But what she said is, I can be both. I can do pageants and I can be in science. And
I love that.
I love that multidimensional perspective that she gave.
I
that
love
said,
it.
I'm not waiting for someone to say, now's my time to be in a beauty pageant. Now's my time to do my work in a hospital. I'm going to do them both.
Right.
And I think that I applaud her for that. And I also think that it was really important that she shared, when it comes to our health, we have to advocate for ourselves and we have to have awareness of what's happening in our body. And I think we've both gone through our own personal journeys where understanding what's happening to you, why it's happening to you, and then how to avoid things was so important. So I think it was just, I think it was great. And what she's doing now in research in healthcare and her going after the data and making sure that Black women are represented in that data is huge.
Impact. Absolutely. So her next gen moment was, of course, encourage exploration of multiple passions, because one identity, you don't have to just stop at one identity. Promoting health awareness, like you said, and of course, self-advocacy, teaching confidence in identity and voice. You are not just one-dimensional. You are your greatest strength is learning how to fully show up as all of who you are.
All of who you are.
And she was really showing up on that call with all of who she is.
And I've actually seen her in a pageant, and she has that crown on and has that poise and that polish. I was like, "Ooh, girl, rock your stuff." I couldn't do it, but rock your stuff. So I was so super proud of her.
Yes, very proud. And she gave us a little bit of history lesson, because she was talking about the Black woman that we still use her stem cells today. Henrietta.
Oh, yes. We'll have to go and figure out the name. Yes.
And so that they were still using the stem cells even through COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. And so crazy. I did have to go Google the Black woman. I believe her name was Henrietta. And really look up, like, wow, what a great history lesson of how we've impacted today's generation.
Right.
That was great. That was huge.
Yeah.
Well, just like when we find the best lip gloss or the most fabulous shoe that we've ever experienced or the best mattress that we could ever possibly think to sleep on, we talk about it. We have conversation. Just make it normal. Have it in everyday conversation. Every space, every opportunity that you have to talk to somebody about this flat iron that you found that is absolute, or this hairdresser that is just to die for, that just lays your edges that you have never been laid before. include in that conversation the importance of us participating and volunteering in research. That way, what happened to Henrietta Lacks will never happen again. And if your audience isn't familiar with that, Henrietta Lacks was an individual who, this story breaks my heart. She went to the hospital and was diagnosed with cervical cancer. She went to a teaching hospital on the East Coast. They ended up swabbing her cells, and they just kept seeing that her cells kept replicating. To this day, her cells are still replicating, but her cells have been used in vaccines from everything from polio to COVID. And COVID for us was recent. So I say that to say that it wasn't until maybe the last 15 years that her family was able to finally settle with that institution, because we have what's called an informed consent. You ask and then you sign, knowing what your rights are as a research participant. That particular process was robbed of Henrietta Lacks. So like you, Alicia, you had the opportunity to knowingly say, hey, I want to do this. Just normalize it. Make it part of your everyday conversation. Make it part of not just the science community, but your friends who aren't in the science community. Talk to your friends who are in banking or in finance or are even in retail who might have the similar experience, but then say, hey, by the way, would you consider this? Let me put you in touch with such and such. And a lot of time institutions will allow volunteers to not just be vocal, but they will actually position you in volunteer spaces where you can actually sign on and help recruit for different studies and actually talk about the good work that each, center is doing. And in my institution, we call them labs, but each individual lab is doing. So normalize it. Put it in that conversation with the best earrings that you've ever found or this really cute purse, in addition to this restaurant that you went to, and then say, oh, by the way, my girlfriend had told me about this study, and they pay you. And that's the good thing about it, is a lot of these studies don't just ask for your time, they compensate you for your time.
Well, let's stay on the sciences. So Veena Somareddy joined us. She's a young CEO. She's like just over 30, maybe 32 or something like that. And she has this AR, VR technology that really helps people as they're recovering from strokes and disorders. And I just think the technology she has, I know she's on her way to being bought out and being a mega multimillionaire.
Yeah.
And at such a young age. And what was interesting in the conversation with Veena is her parents wanted her, she's Indian descent, and her parents wanted to do the traditional route of doctor, and she wanted to go a different path. And so leaning into early and knowing what her superpower was and her strength and leaning into it, and the bravery it took for her to say, no, I don't want to be a doctor, but I do want to do something in healthcare that's going to give back and leverage technology, was huge. So I really enjoyed having a conversation with Veena during this
in her episode, she really talked about exposing students to emerging technologies early. Like, can you imagine? Like, where did she learn that? Where did she learn all of this? Like, how did you? Like, were you sitting in your bedroom and came up with something new? Where did this come from? Building confidence through experimentation and encouraging interdisciplinary learning. Hers is all about when innovation meets purpose. You don't just change industry, you change lives. And really, we got a chance to see her innovation. And what really struck me is how she did not tell her parents what she was doing.
No, because she knew that they were going to reject it. And so she didn't want that negativity. So she leaned into her passion and into her purpose without the influence of the parents pushing her. So I think she's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
She's definitely a powerhouse.
Yeah,
so thank you, Veena, for being with us.
Thank you so much. Okay, we got to talk about Saki and Dr.
Well, actually, so before we say anything more.
Okay, yes.
At the time we had the conversation with Saki and Dr. Jennifer Simpson, Saki was going through her dissertation.
Yes.
And she is now on the other side of that journey. And so we talked with Dr. Saki Milton and Dr. Jennifer Simpson.
Yes. Thank you for the update, Fern. Okay, so we are so proud of her getting her PhD. And so just celebrating you, Saki. Welcome to the PhD Club. And, she's going to continue to make amazing impact because she is out there in her nonprofit. But that particular episode, which was all about advancing education, because we talked about getting a PhD, representation in STEM, and the responsible use of AI. And so really some of the core message that they had was excellence requires both achievement and sustainability. Leaders must pursue impact while protecting their well-being and using technology responsibly. What are some of your key insights?
I'm just going to leave you with one, because Saki said this, and and the reason why I want to point this out is because she did the work. She said, hey, everyone wants to get to the top. They want to actually have all the accolades, but people don't want to do the work. And I'm just so super proud of her and the work that she put in over the past 5 years to get to the point of being a PhD now. And so the message she has to the next generation is, yes, there's a lot of opportunity out here. There's a ton of technology, but you still have to do the work. So
absolutely,
I think that's a key message to hone in on.
I think I probably work maybe 12 to 16 hours a day. And it really depends, when I do that, I'm kind of a night owl, so I get a lot of my work done when it's more quiet, but one of the things I will say that I envy about this generation is that they can do that and not feel guilty of it. Like I would feel so guilty working, like just like you said, if this is a standard and I'm just doing I would feel like, oh my gosh, and I they don't feel that way, and kind of in a sense that I think that they are aware of this huge capitalist society that's like go, 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 go. But you all know, you've traveled to other countries. You go to somewhere like Italy or somewhere like that, it's much more chill. Like when I worked in Dubai, we went to work, but you had tea, it was a different vibe. And I remember my first month, it was so hard to adjust because I was like, they're not working. And I felt like I was the only one working. And it's just in America, it's different. So in that sense, I do envy them that they kind of have freed themselves from that hard grind. But at the end of the day, if it's something that you want and you want it really bad, a lot of people want to be on top. They want to be the CEO. They want to but y'all ain't trying to do the work. You don't really want that. You're saying what you want, but I want to have my own nonprofit. I want to have my own business, but you're not trying to do the work. And I think that's one of the things, to what Jennifer's point is, that I struggle with girls at the gyms camp, just having them intern with me and having them work the summer camps. They get to see that side of me that's no, go back and do it again. That's not what we had discussed. Next time, here's some ways you can do it. But I do believe in modeling. I think that's something that's very important. If we want them to do something a certain way or have a sense of excellence, then our work has to be excellent. We can't just be going around throwing stuff together. But I do envy them in that sense, but I do believe we still have to instill some of that excellence that our forefathers instilled in us.
Absolutely. And so really Saki, which she is, basically she's doing the work, but she has the nonprofit where she's encouraging young ladies to start STEM early, which I absolutely love. And then they talked about teaching critical thinking with AI tools and normalizing the conversation around balance in mental health.
And the GEMS camp and the program that she runs is phenomenal. And she's touching girls right at sixth grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. I'm sorry, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders.
Okay.
And I think that's such an impressionable time to really touch these young ladies and let them form and as their brains are forming and exposing them to all things in STEM. So she and Jennifer are two powerhouse sisters in the space of mathematics and education. And so, thank you so much for being a part of our show.
Yes, you can pursue excellence without losing yourself. The goal is not just to achieve, but to thrive.
Yes, thrive.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So let me see. We had two good brothers on, and actually I just kind of learned about these two brothers through a mutual friend. And I really enjoyed having Samuel Davis and Chris Berry on. They talked about a lot on emotional intelligence and the IQ and the EQ. And they're running a business out in Ohio, and they're in technology, but they're also into giving back into the community. So Samuel Davis and I connected just on that whole notion of give back, feed into the youth. It's not going to be perfect. Let's help them understand the AI and the value. Right. And then as leaders, let's make sure that we're not only telling them build your IQ, but also build your EQ. So it's what you deliver, but it's also how you show up. And how you show up is really important. So thank you so much, Samuel and Chris, for being a part of season 3 and shining your light to the young folks there in Ohio and across the world.
So their lesson that they actually were driving home with our audience is success in technology is not just about innovation. Of course, it's about discipline, relationships, and the willingness to keep learning.
Yes.
And so they really focused on how their youth really impacted, their own walk and their influence into moving into technology. So I thought that was amazing. Yeah. We got to talk about Dr. Laura.
Oh, Dr. Laura Jones.
Yes.
She spoke to my head, my heart, my soul. She's such a sweet woman. And another fan, another friend. Yeah.
Wait a minute, Dr. Laura had how many PhDs?
Two.
I was like, oh my goodness. She said there was more people out there that had multiple PhDs. I was like, wow, that is, you can do more than one in a lifetime, young people. Get with it.
I know. And, so we've had so many PhDs on the show this episode, this season. I'm like, they were like, Fern, don't you want to join the ranks? Absolutely not. I am clear and comfortable with where I am, always learning, always growing, but I don't have the desire to seek the PhD. But she was, she's such a sweet soul. She's in cybersecurity, and she's moved around different organizations, but she too was in the military.
So we had
another military
veteran,
very focused on how to help that next generation. But she was really imposing upon the importance of knowing your craft. So as we're getting into AI, or we're getting into any other discipline that you have, is really taking the time to know your craft before you're promoting, hey, I'm an AI consultant, because she talked about AI consultant businesses. And she's like, hey, a lot of people are rushing into this, but they don't really know it. So she was impressing upon us the need to make sure that you really understand the work that you're doing and hone in on that craft as you mature.
One of the lessons that she had is the most impactful leaders balance risk, technology, and humanity to create organizations that are both efficient and resilient. She, too, also kind of like Saki and Dr. Jennifer talked about the introduction of cybersecurity and AI early, because she brought forward her book, teaching children about cybersecurity. She encouraged curiosity and problem solving, building confidence through mentorship and exposure. We always talk about on this show how important mentorship is. Great leaders don't just adapt to change. They guide others through it with clarity, courage, and purpose. Thank you so much, Dr. Laura.
We have a heart for service, and we have a heart for giving back. And we want to make sure that this next generation who are coming into the tech space, which has really expanded over the past 5 years, they're ready. They understand what leadership excellence is about. They understand how they need to keep 3 tabs open at all time, right? So they're learning blockchain and data center risk management and vibe coding. What does giving back and paying it forward mean to you, Dr. Laura, and how do you serve that in your community?
Yeah, so if I think about the broader community, not necessarily right here where I live, but one of the things I started doing back in 2019 was writing children's books. I had a couple of characters, little Black characters, because I believe representation matters. And so it's books that all kids can use, but I wanted these 2 little characters to be Black. The girl happens to have locks. Her name is Cyber Kai. And the little boy is Techy guy. And so they talk about online safety, online security. And a lot of it is really talking about the things we would tell our children, grandchildren, niece, nephew, the photos, the information, sharing too much, talking to strangers. But it's a little more than that. I offer a little more than that. And it's also a way, it's not really, these are not books that kids are just going to pick up and say, oh, I just love reading about passwords and passcodes. But it is a way for a caring adult, whoever that is, teacher, grandma, whoever it is, to have a conversation with children and have a guide. And I've had parents and older people tell me that as they were sharing this and reading through it with their grandchild, that they actually learned a lot. And those were the moments that honestly touched me, because I'm like, oh my God, okay, this is awesome. And so that's how I give back, is to also connect with children. I've spoken at the Boys and Girls Club. I've spoken for Jack and Jill, but just talking to children and making sure they understand. And one of the things I hear it more and more now on the internet, but one of the things I started saying back in 2019 was we, with our children, we'll take them to dance, we'll take them equestrian lessons, sports, whatever it is, music lessons, and we'll drive a country mile to do it if they have talent. All right. And they're promising, but we don't really give that same credence to technology and cybersecurity. Here you go. here's an iPad, put that on YouTube and watch this. Or here's your iPhone. And we don't really spend a lot of time there as much as we commit to other areas. And these children, absolutely, if they have the capacity to learn all these other things, they have the capacity to learn more about cybersecurity. So that's why I also put in my books, I'll always have at least 1 to 3 careers. If I'm talking about data privacy, I'm going to talk about a data privacy officer in the way they understand it. Who manages risk? The chief risk officer. So I'm talking like that, and they're way too young to be thinking about a career, but why not plant the seed? We plant seeds for everything else. Why not?
Dr. Laura, what's the name of your book and where can we get it?
Oh, I have just one on Amazon, but it's called Cyber and Techy Guy Manages the Risk of Being Online. It's on Amazon.
Cyber Kai and Guy. Ooh,
yeah, exactly. Her name's Kyra, but I just shortened it to Cyber Kai so it can rhyme. Cyber Kai and Techy Guy.
We give you a shout out because you are so smart and you jump out of airplanes.
In one of her prior lives.
Yes.
Before she got 10,000 degrees. All right. So Dee Maddox, we both know Dee. We love Dee.
Oh, yes. We love Dee.
She speaks to our heart as well. And she's a management consultant. She's got a ton of experience. I think Dee just has a calm about her and how she, I don't know, just the way she talks and just resonates with me. So I'm appreciative, Dee, that you joined us early. I think she was on episode 2.
She did. Episode 2.
What nuggets did she drop?
Okay, so Dee Maddox, and of course she has her own company called DMX Consulting. You know, that's like DMX the rapper.
I know.
DMX Consulting has nothing to do with the rapper.
Different meeting.
Nothing to do with the rapper, but that just came to my mind. Okay, and so really some of her talking points. And she was really getting you to probe internally, like move and look inside, because she talked about how do you know when you've outgrown your role? What does it mean to truly operate in your purpose? Why are so many organizations failing at leadership development? Oh my goodness, come on, leaders, we need you. How can emerging leaders build executive presence early? And how should leaders approach AI without fear? When I tell you, Dee Maddox, you know, I think this was probably one of the most underrated shows that we did because Dee Maddox really dropped some true gems. Like she really did. What else did you get from Dee?
So, you know, she talks about her journey. She talked about, you know, kind of going from UT Austin to doing corporate training work to then launching her own business, and talked about that journey. And we then talked about how that workforce was changing with AI and what did that mean. So I think that she was sharing with us some leadership skills that would be important, not just with AI technology, but going back to understanding yourself more and then, you know, bringing those leadership skills to the light. And then, you know, I think I love the fact that she's got a background with NASA and USDA. She has depth.
Yes.
Depth. And so I just love the fact that she was able to share a little bit with us.
One of her closing statements, or basically in the episode that she did, episode 2, stop waiting for permission to walk in your purpose. The moment you own your path, everything changes.
Yes.
And she talked about her own path. And when she began to own it, how everything began to align. Her purpose really started to align intentionally.
You know, and I that resonates so well with me because as I've kind of gone to this new chapter of my life and leaning into my purpose, it's amazing how your network will open up for you. And people I didn't even know are helping, you know, just kind of open up doors or make connections. So I do believe what she says. And if you lean into your purpose, the ecosystem just kind of comes to you.
Yeah.
I would say comes to your rescue. They just fuel you and then they help you as you're making that journey. So it's not going to be easy. I'm not saying it's a walk in the park.
Right.
But every time I get veered towards, hey, look at this corporate role, then the other side, all of a sudden something else opens up. So I think her message is a blessing.
And what she really talked about, and this is something that I want to bring home for young people, is sometimes you have to do what you got to do so you can do what you want to do.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And so, because every time you have opportunities that show up when you are younger, some of the opportunities are not necessarily, they're not your purpose as of today.
At that moment. Right.
But it doesn't mean that it's not building on your purpose,
Absolutely.
your life's journey.
Yeah, I talk about that in my book, and making these lateral moves are building blocks
Yes.
for where you're trying to go or for the person you're becoming. And sometimes you have to sit in a space of discomfort to grow.
Yes.
And sitting in that space of discomfort doesn't mean you stay there,
Right.
but it helps you get to that next level.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, you brought on your girl, Tina Helton,
Tina.
and she is governance and compliance risk management. She's in
Yes.
cybersecurity. She's had an incredible journey, and it was really nice to hear, one, about her personal journey, as well as now what's happening in the cybersecurity space and how she is navigating those waters. And so I know she's a good friend of yours, so tell us
Yes.
about what you learned from Tina.
So her core message was all about cybersecurity is no longer optional, which is true, especially if you are in a business or a part of a business. It is a continuous discipline requiring awareness, adaptability, and proactive leadership. AI is reshaping cybersecurity every
Single
day.
day.
Every day.
Yeah. No, and I think, AI, we talked about with Eddie Bright, he's like, hey, technology, cybersecurity. I mean, there's so many things that parallel with it. So I agree with Tina in that it is changing. Just I think AI is changing everything every day. But being cyber aware is not somebody else's accountability. It's every person's accountability.
It's everybody's accountability.
Yeah.
She talked about also keeping kids safe, teaching digital safety early.
And she has a book. So
Yes.
she shared with us her book.
Yes. Techy. What was the name of her book? Techy. It was
Texie or Lexi? Ooh, we have to look that up.
We have to look it up. I remember the name Techy. But her book was all about her journey when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, which is absolutely amazing journey that she's had. She is a survivor, but she really, really encouraged everyone to have online awareness and when you are present online, and then building resilience through real world challenges. In a world of evolving threats, your greatest protection is awareness, preparation, and the discipline to stay ready. Is your organization truly prepared for AI-driven threats? Oh my goodness, that was a good question that she brought up. And then what daily habits should individuals adopt for cybersecurity? How can leaders stay ahead in a constantly evolving threat landscape? And what does resilience look like in leadership? And so, did you get the name of her book?
No, does she have it under a different name?
No, I thought it was something. Oh my goodness, we don't have the name of her book.
I can't believe this. We'll find it. We'll have
to put it in the show notes. But I know it has something. Did you look up Techy on Amazon? We really want to highlight Tina Hilton's book on our show today. And
so we'll come back to it in a second. We'll find it here.
Yes, we will find it.
I'll keep looking.
And so building strong professional networks is something that she also talked about. We always talk about your network, your mentoring, as well as your network. AI is reshaping cybersecurity, but also leadership responsibility and personal resilience is increasing in this ever increasing digital world.
Did Tina have another? Doesn't she have a hyphen name?
She did. That's probably why we can't find it. Yeah, that's probably why we can't find it. Remember, because one of the key things that Tina talked about is do not give out your phone number. I remember her telling us that. Don't give out your phone number when you're in the store and stuff. She said, get a burner phone and use a burner phone to give out your phone number.
I know. I can't believe we can't find her book. We got to find it. All right. So the next up is that I thought person who was just phenomenal too, that I want to make sure we give a little shine to is Tiffany. And so
Tiffany Martin.
Tiffany Martin was probably about episode 5 or 6 in, and Tiffany is just a powerhouse. One of the things that was so funny is, I think one of the questions we asked to her was, so when people, really find out that you're blind, like what do you say? And what's the reaction? And she's like, people say, are you really blind? And she's like, yeah. But I didn't know her story that she actually had a disease that, led her to blindness.
Yeah.
It was an onslaught from her childbirth that she was blind. So to me, the vividness of just thinking about it of your life, if you're losing your eyesight and it's diminishing, and how you're holding on to images and that memory and the sharpness of your other senses that comes about, I think is phenomenal. And she has made the transition look seamless, but you and I both know it's not.
It is not.
But she has made it look like, yep, I can see one day and not. And now I'm developing technologies and I'm running my own companies.
Yep, entrepreneur.
She started her own company from the hospital
From
bed.
the hospital bed. Yes.
From the hospital
at Baylor.
bed.
I had a friend
wait. You started in the hospital?
I started it in the hospital.
In the hospital. Wow.
In the hospital. I had my husband, I told him, I said, hey, we're going to turn this hospital room. At nighttime, it was the day, so we would watch Game of Thrones together. And during the day, it was my office. The backdrop of Baylor is downtown Dallas. So it looked like I was in a high rise.
She got her degree from Baylor. Baylor helped support her. But I think she's such an inspiration to anyone who's out there. And we all are working with what I call not disabilities, but different abilities.
Right.
And she has shown and proven that is her superpower.
Absolutely.
And I felt like her inspiration, I'm getting tingles because I just
the resilience alone of Tiffany is amazing. And so some of her core message on her show was inclusive design is not optional. It is a strategic advantage that creates better outcomes for everyone. So she talks about how many of us are using these inclusive designs in our everyday technology, even like if you're driving down the street and Google Maps is talking to you.
Right.
That's an inclusive design.
Right.
So she really highlighted how these small little designs that are being built
are huge for people who have disabilities, different abilities.
Yes, absolutely. I really love that. The most impactful innovations are those that include everyone because accessibility benefits us all.
No.
Absolutely.
And you know what? It's so interesting because we talked about developing with accessibility up front and having that mindset for it up front.
Yes.
And her awareness is there for sure, but I think she opened up our eyes to, as we're developing even things on this podcast, what could we have done differently to make it more accessible? So I think we just have to keep that at the forefront.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And really what I loved about her story, because it's definitely, it highlights resilience, is she said that she couldn't do it by herself. She said she did have, her parents that were very supportive, her husband. That's very supportive. As well as she tapped into the accessibility community that is extremely important, and how she had to use different resources, and they came in and had to readapt her home. And so I think really what we can take away from her story is we can't do it by ourselves.
Oh, you can't do anything by yourself.
No.
And I think, this is something that we as women and Black women hold on to, is trying to do everything and trying to be the superwoman.
Yeah.
And really, there's no hero in that.
No, it's not.
Because you're going to wear yourself out and then you're good for nobody. So
correct.
I think the important thing is, how do you leverage that network, build that community around you for whatever you're going through? I think it's so important. I think she's demonstrated that.
She's demonstrated that. I think one of the sayings that really her episode would highlight for me: if you want to go fast, go alone.
If you want to go far, go together.
If you want to go far, go together.
Okay.
And so
that's an old African proverb.
That is an old African proverb, and really, I still stand in that today.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we're going to close this out with a couple of more. So
let's talk about Chakita.
Chakita was our #1 video for a full season the season.
She sure was. Thank you, Chakita Holmes.
Chakita, thank you so much for talking about project management and how that discipline is changing, and how the AI tools are helping you be more effective with project management and doing recaps quicker. You're leveraging the tools not to replace the job, but now that you can handle more. So I think she sat in this very seat.
Yeah, she sure did. Yeah, because she was in studio.
And we talked about how now, instead of just wanting one project, because of the tools that she's leveraging, she's able to run 4 or 5 projects at the same time. So she really helped us understand that, and you brought out in the conversation, hey, one of the skills I get asked for all the time in your business,
one of the highest demanding positions is project management.
Right. And the importance of that.
Yes.
And what I love about project manager, I've done it too early in my career, is it's not just for technology. It spans there's a project manager in housing development. There's a project manager in TV production. There's a project manager in healthcare, right?
Yes, and nonprofits.
Every
industry uses nonprofits. I use project management in my house with my kids.
I use project management. I'm doing a couple of programs now, and I have an assistant. And like, look, your role is project management, because we have to be organized in how we're doing the work.
Absolutely.
And if you operate with the end in mind, what is the outcome and what's the date you have to deliver on? Let's map back, right? To
how do we get there? Absolutely. And so some of the key takeaways is she encouraged exploration of multiple career paths, because she talked about how she used project management in the music industry. Mm-hmm. And so teaching communication and leadership early, as well as building adaptability as a core skill. AI may accelerate the work, but leadership is what gives it direction and impact. Your value is not just in execution, it's in how you think, communicate, and lead in an ever-evolving landscape. And so Chakita's really just bringing in that project management, because it's so broad and because it reaches almost every single industry.
Yep, absolutely.
I think that her talking points were just spot on, and she's very knowledgeable in her area of project management.
Thank you, Chakita, for being a part of season 3.
Thank you.
We appreciate
so
you
much.
I think we hit everybody.
I think we talked about everybody.
So we may have one other extra guest on, Libby Wright. We hopefully will capture her this week. And so, Libby, if you're able to join us, we thank you.
Yes.
When I think about all the lessons I've learned from this season and doing this podcast, I walk away with a couple of things. People love to tell their story, and I love that we are creating a platform to highlight some phenomenal leaders and talent out there that may not have a voice that can share it broadly. So
Absolutely.
I think we're creating a platform for that as we're in this journey to give it back and pay it forward. And so that people in technology or not in technology can see leaders who are doing it, and not just top leaders, but every level you can be a leader, right? It doesn't have to be only at the top of an organization. So I loved that piece. Scheduling is a beast.
Oh, yes, it is.
Girl.
Trying to get all these people on. It's a lot of work.
You see this grade?
Is.
I'm calling up a lot of the grade, but my God, getting these people to,
it's a lot of work getting a lot of people on. But I will say, okay, so some of the key themes that I heard through season 3, AI is impacting everyone, but you can be an adapter or an enabler. You're going to be one or the other.
Right.
That AI is going to AI is not going to take over your job, but the people who use AI is going to be very impactful in the area of whatever specialty they have. Leadership. A lot of people talked about leadership this season.
Well, also, so it was discipline. I heard discipline a lot.
Yes.
And how can you be disciplined in what you do, and how you're learning AI, how you're applying AI ethically.
Yes.
Amir talked about that, and Renard talked about that. So I think there was a theme of discipline. There was a theme of leadership. There was definitely a theme with veterans.
Yes. Serving your country. It is vital. And then how veterans are making such impact on their communities.
Right. And so also I think the important thing with the veteran piece is the transferable skills. So after you've served, how are you taking what you've learned? And it can be applied, whether it be for community service, whether it be for nonprofit or for corporate or for sales. So I think that was an important that people should hear. You can serve, and then at a different phase of your life, you will be leading and serving another area, another capacity.
Yes.
So I think that's important too.
And then we also learned that you can get more than one PhD this season if you want to.
And not go stir crazy.
Yes, and still continue to contribute and give back and have a family, because Dr. Laura had a family.
She had a family.
Well.
She had a family. And, I think about that. The message there, and I think this is important for our next generation, is you can have it all.
Yeah.
You may not have it all at the same
one
time.
Yeah.
But you can have it all. It's just different phases and chapters of your life. And it's okay if this is the educate. So we always talk about continual learning, right?
Yes.
And that's going to be a constant.
Constant, yeah.
But if you're diving deep like Saki did to get her PhD, and now that that's done, she can lean in more heavily into her nonprofit work, right? So there's timing and seasons for everything. So the other thing I learned is, we have a great team. So I appreciate my podcast partner.
Thank you, Fern. I appreciate you too.
I appreciate the Hello Studios team.
Yes, thank you, Hello Studios.
Hello Studios, y'all been great. They've been very easy to work with,
Yes.
whether we wanted to come do this in studio or do it from our homes.
Yes.
Piping in people from all over the world. And I think that whatever you're doing, having your right network and team around you
Yes.
makes it all the joy and easiness to get things done. So I think that was
Absolutely.
important as well.
Yes. Thank you, Fern, for another season. Season 3.
Season 3 of
Of
Two Lit Chicks.
Giving it back and paying it forward.
So thanks for joining us today. Listen, like, and subscribe at Two Lit Chicks Podcast. And remember, always stay curious, stay bold,
and stay lit.
Thank you for joining us today. Listen, like, subscribe at Two Lit Chicks Podcast.
Remember, stay curious, stay bold, and always stay lit.
Woo-hoo.